This podcast is sponsored by IQ Bar.
I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ Bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20.
Welcome back to Big Little Lessons. I'm Kristine, and I'm here with my longtime teaching partner, Jenny. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, Kristine. As we step into a new year, there's often a lot of pressure to set goals, make resolutions, and figure out what's next.
Right, and it's upon us, 2026. Can't believe it. So especially as parents and teachers, we're thinking about what's next. The next grade, the next skill, the next phase. There's so many nexts.
Yes, but in kindergarten, and honestly, in life, we've learned that growth doesn't begin by rushing ahead.
It really doesn't. It begins by understanding where we are right now. The developmental piece, it's so important for us as kindergarten teachers and all primary school teachers.
It can be overwhelming and say, oh my gosh, things aren't going right. But it's important to kind of look and see what is going right and what's the next tiny step to move forward.
And we have, in fact, a lens for that, a developmental lens. And Jenny and I really love this book. We want to name a resource that shaped how we think about child development for years. It's been so helpful.
It's a book called Yardsticks. Yardsticks is written by Chip Wood. And
it's a wonderful book. It looks at children ages 4 through 14 in the classroom and at home. So it's really such a great resource to have as parents when you're like, what's going on with my kid? And you open it up and it will say, age 5 at home, Charlie is testing boundaries.
Yeah. And it's helping us understand, parents and teachers, what's happening cognitively, socially, emotionally, and physically at each stage. And for kindergarten, there's a section, younger 5s and older 5s, because there's quite a developmental change. I think the thing that makes me appreciative of this book is every year I have to review it, because there was a time I was writing parent report cards mid-year, and I was just saying, these kids are so wiggly on the rug. And then developmentally, it's like, yeah, they can't stop moving. This is their age and state. So it's a good reminder because we get used to seeing where kids go at the end of a school year, but you're like, nope, you got to go way back to the beginning.
It is. And development is not random. It happens, sequentially. So.
And we call these benchmarks. When we understand these benchmarks, we respond with more patience, empathy, and trust, because you're like, oh, this is the stage. Like I remember 6-year-olds typically will start falling out of the chairs. Their bodies are growing and they're moving around a lot. And so you might see them falling out of chairs. They're not trying to be disruptive. It's just developmentally where they are at the moment.
It's so true. Actually, Jenny, I know you did not coin the phrase benchmark, but to me you did, because you started using it. And I'm like, I love that. Benchmarks. That's so relevant to what we're doing.
I think it helps us because it's not a goal, but it's an understanding of where someone is in their developmental phase.
Right. So we can ask different questions related to what's happening.
Yeah. Is this a behavior problem, or does it need to be investigated, or is this developmentally right on time? We will link this book and other research studies in the show notes. So stay tuned and please get that book.
So before we jump in, let's share a little outline for what we're going to talk about today.
All right. So for today, we're going to focus on setting goals in January for our students, partnering with others, and reflecting on our own personal life. So our section 1 is, what do goals look like in January for kindergarten? So we like to say we start in September and we plant seeds. So many seeds. And then January is a time, kind of at the midway point of the school year, it's a time to begin to harvest what we've sown and see what needs pruning, what needs to be watered a little bit more time.
What needs to be weeded. Yep.
Yeah, so it's a time for kind of reviewing and making some new resolutions, because we know kids learn and forget. And when they return after winter break, they do need reminders and a refresher course of what they've already learned. But a lot of the things are in place, just a little refresher.
Yeah, it's so important. But in our classrooms, we don't really make resolutions per se. We talk about what our strengths are and what our next steps are and what we're working on. Like the students are very good. They become very self-aware and know what they're working on. So we do this collectively in group lessons, and we also do it individually with students. So at the beginning of the year, in their development, our goals and objectives are so heavily based in social emotional learning. And there's so much that they have to sort of get under their belts before we could even enter into the academic work. So in January, the social emotional goals and academic goals are of more equal importance. We continue to teach academics, but it just kind of shifts the balance.
Yes. So if students haven't really met those SEL goals in the fall, it definitely becomes more challenging for them to move ahead. So, Kristine, what are some of our earliest social and emotional teachings that we do?
There's so many things: making friends, sharing, being kind, following two-step directions, taking responsibility is a huge one. These are all, conflict resolution. These are all developing and happening simultaneously at the beginning of the year. There's so much of that.
Yes, and we do like to go slow at first, because that intention that we are creating provides that calm, confidence, and independence later on. And it is like magic. You work so hard on how to get ready to go out to recess and washing your hands and taking turns and asking questions. But then later on, they can go lickety split, and it's really fast.
I love when it happens and you can step back and watch it. It's so rewarding as a teacher,
Yes.
because that's what the intention does. It focuses on the process, not the finish line.
Exactly.
I love
So,
it.
with some of those situations, if students are still working and processing some of those social emotional learning parts, making friends and sharing and all those kinds of things, then we really need to enlist the help of others. And so section 2 is partnering with others.
It's true, because one of the most important lessons is that we don't do this work alone. We want to work in partnership, not only with our families, but with the other teachers. If there's any kind of outside support, it's so super important to get everybody on board, like Team Charlie all the way.
Team Charlie. All our students are always named Charlie. My very first, when I was teaching kindergarten at the school, my very first day in this classroom, I had a little Charlie. He was not like the other kids in the class. He was very unsure of being at the school. He was overwhelmed. He entered kindergarten at 5.5. And so when we were gathering all the kids on the rug, he was under the table. When we're asking everyone to maybe do a little seat work, he refused. And he was gifted with a very vocal voice, and he made it very clear about how he felt. On the playground, he was having a lot of difficulties being friendly with other kids and keeping his hands to himself. And the very first day, I needed to call home and ask for a parent meeting.
On the first day?
It was our first year working together in kindergarten. I was like,
I remember.
you got to be kidding me. I was like, what in the world? But he was quite disruptive. He kind of scared the other kids because he was having outbursts. And I'm like, oh boy, we need to
How did his parents take that?
Oh, the mom, who was so sweet. The dad, he's like, okay, what are we going to do here? I mean, they were so excited to start kindergarten, and they were lovely. But it was also, I felt like I was inserting a dagger every time I had to call them. But they're right away. They're like, what can we do? What can we say? And
Well, that's the right answer. I mean, they gave you the right answer.
Yeah,
They didn't push back. They didn't deny or challenge you. They accepted what you were saying, which we appreciate that.
it does, because we all want this Charlie to succeed. Of course we do. And yet you can't expect a child that perhaps isn't really sure he wants to be in the class, he or she wants to be in the classroom, but you can start with little tiny steps. And so, yeah, it really helped to have these conversations with the parents where they would check in the morning or check in after school, or I'd shoot out an email or whatever. This continued. He had more challenging days than easier days, but I would look for those glimpses. I'm like, oh gosh, I really want to be able to report a moment. And so he definitely improved little by little, little by little. And so when we met in November for parent conferences, we were kind of sharing what was working, what wasn't. What I remember is that we'd gotten closer, the parents and I, because of our concerns for this little Charlie. And mom shared funny things that Charlie was saying at home. They would say their prayers at night, because this Charlie was a very strong student in terms of wanting things his way and didn't really want to bend, or he didn't developmentally wasn't ready for the idea of listening to someone else. So
Right. It was Charlie's world.
Charlie's world. So they were saying their prayers at night. And one night, Charlie said, "Dear God, help me change the world." And we're like, that's amazing. And then he continued, "By making everybody do what I want." I mean, the honesty is don't we all want that?
Yes.
Everybody do what we want. But we had a moment of laughter, and we're like, you know what? We could see that he's trying and we're trying, and little by little. And, we're working on it. So we had to continue. He was turning 6 in January. So we're coming back from winter break. And it was like, oh my goodness, let's see. Because a lot of times kids shift during that winter break where they've had a moment to kind of pause away from school. They're back to home life for a couple of weeks. And we weren't sure what we were going to get. So
school starts in January.
Yes, the new school year, the new calendar year. And he turned 6, and he started doing what he used to do in the fall. I think some of it was developmental, but some of it was just pure luck. But we're like, you can't act that way. And he's like, he just looked at us and we're like, you turned 6 today. You don't do that anymore. And he looked at us and was like, you're right. I don't do this anymore. And he didn't. And it had this transformation, turning 6 for him. He realized, I'm a big kid now. I'm 6 years old.
I love that. He bought in. There was buy-in. But you're right. Some of it was luck, but also not.
No, I think about it, like he understood the rhythm of our day. All those little tiny things we've been working on all fall, it kind of fell into place, and developmentally, he was ready for it as well. So
that his parents must have been thrilled.
It was so fun. It was such a fun thing because most of the time it was great. It was like he was a different kid the second half of the school year. Oh. And it was really heartwarming. But it started with that partnership and having realistic, tiny goals, not having this over the top, like we need a 180 here. It's like, no, that's not going to happen. But little patterns, little habits of let's course correct this one and help him understand. So it was great.
That's such a great story, Jenny. So, the social, emotional, and academic ones specifically, it's really a crucial time in a child's life to make sure that they're getting what they need. So that's why we reach out. And for parents, we want parents to review old standing routines and patterns that a child has developmentally outgrown. It's the next stage, right? It's a safe way to push into the next level of development.
Yeah. I mean, as parents, we all get kind of into this is the way it is. Or as teachers, sometimes we can go there too. But that's why it's important to have a moment to really look at it. So another kind of more in-depth example of partnering with others, parents, colleagues, et cetera, that we see every year is a matter around something that sounds simple, but it actually isn't. And that is learning how to say sorry and actually mean it.
I
So,
mean it. It's a big one. Actually, I remember my younger son, Shane, really struggled with this. And he would.
At Nature's Bounty, the belief is simple. You already have a brilliant body. Supplements just help support your journey. For over 50 years, Nature's Bounty has offered vitamins and supplements to help you eat, sleep, thrive, repeat. From magnesium glycinate for heart and muscle support to hair growth capsules for fuller, thicker hair. And probiotics with 20 billion live cultures for digestion. Nature's Bounty. It's in your nature to thrive. Learn more at naturesbounty.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This podcast is sponsored by IQ Bar.
I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20.
Dig in and scream and tantrum. And all of a sudden, it was like magic. And we've read some of this research about when children develop empathy. It was like one day he woke up and he became the most empathetic child that existed.
I know, and it happened before he came to my class in kindergarten.
Yes.
I had him in kindergarten.
It was right before kindergarten, but it was significant. It was tough.
Yeah,
So
I know. When you're in it, it's rough. It's not easy. Yeah.
it's rough. I have a perfect story about another Charlie from the beginning of kindergarten. Like Jenny mentioned, that this comes up all the time. And this particular Charlie was similar to the same developmental age as the story Jenny shared, 5.5. And he just refused to apologize. The thing about this Charlie is he was really struggling socially and emotionally. So there was often times where he needed to apologize. He was bumping into kids, taking things out of children's hands, not sharing, hurting people's feelings, intentionally bumping kids. And it was puzzling because I felt like he had a really sweet side and then he had this other side that he just couldn't bring the two together.
Did he have friends at the beginning?
So I think children were a little bit afraid of him.
Okay.
Children were a little bit afraid. And I think when he was having his sweet side, he would connect with others. But then when he would dig in, and it's almost like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in this stage of development, and he just would do things that you just couldn't. You're like, why is this happening? Why,
He kind of just draw a line in the sand, so to speak, and that was it. And he was not going to budge.
He was so stubborn, so stubborn. And on the younger side, his birthday's in May. So developmentally, like we said, that's a younger, our children tend to be a little bit older. So the June, July birthdays are already 6. So he's about 8 months younger.
Okay.
But that being said, it was essential for him to learn to say sorry. As far as we were concerned, in a classroom of 25, my goal for him was, this kid is going to learn to say sorry under my watch.
And why is that so important in a class of 25?
Yeah, because you're impacting, you're part of a community, right? So you're also, everybody's, modeling behavior for everyone else. And, in order for him to make friends, in order for him to feel good about himself, it was really important for him to learn to say sorry.
Well, so take me to, when did you reach out to his parents?
So I reached out early on before our November conferences just to check in because he was having a lot of behavior. And the parents were lovely, like your Charlie's parents. They were totally on board. They said, that happens at home all the time. He has a younger sister and an older sister. He refuses to say sorry at home. And I would ask them questions. Well, what do you do? Well, he won't say sorry. Well, why not? Why won't you make him say sorry? They're like, he won't say sorry. He refuses to say sorry. So that was really interesting.
Yeah,
It's
you
really
almost feel like
interesting.
you're stuck. You're like, okay, great. Now what are we going to do?
Yeah, so I have to be the bad guy. But, they were like, do what you got to do.
Tell us what to do. It's tricky because developmentally, what we've been learning about is that young children, say 2, 3, 4, they're learning those words, I'm sorry, before they actually understand what it means. So
Exactly.
you're modeling, just like, oh, you dropped something, say, I'm sorry. And they might not really get it, but you're trying to get that muscle memory going.
And it was such a big deal for him. I mean, admitting that it's almost like he missed that and he just went, yeah, he missed that phase and he just went to the point where if I say sorry, I've done something wrong and I don't do things wrong because I'm a little kid,
Yeah, so it's like you had to start where he was, which is like learning how to say, I'm sorry.
Say the words, say the words.
He wasn't developmentally ready for understanding the perspective or empathy, but
Nope.
learning those 2 words.
Yeah. So that was step number 1.
Okay.
So one day we had something really big happened. I think he was so angry and upset. He kicked the associate teacher in the classroom. Like he was tantruming, and we're like, this kid is going to say sorry today. Today's going to be a sorry day. And he dug in and dug in and dug in. And then it's like, he said sorry. And because we were giving him like really clear boundaries, like you have to say sorry. You can't say, you have to say sorry before you go out to lunch or before you go play. You have to say sorry. You just have to say sorry. That's all you have to do. You don't have to mean it. We didn't tell him that, but you just have to say the words. And finally, he said it, and it was just like it's like this weight was lifted off of him. It was incredible.
What did he do when he said that?
I think he was so relieved. We moved on. We didn't keep going. We're like, he did what we asked him to do. Goodbye, And then the next time, and then that was the first thing. And then we built on it and built on it. So every single time something happened, he would say it again. And we would just be like, oh, Charlie, that's amazing. You said sorry. And then I would say, Charlie, come here, let's do something. I want to do something with you. And I would say, Charlie, say something mean to me. And he would say something mean. And then he would say, I'm sorry. And I would say, no, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. So I turned it into a game with him and I made it really playful. So then the best news was I got an email from his parents that said, guess what? Charlie said sorry at home.
Oh my gosh. What did they do when they heard that?
I think they celebrated. And now, so that started at the beginning of the year. I would say by end of November, it was something that he just met the next phase of his development. He moved into the stage of being able to have empathy and understanding that if you make a mistake, say sorry, and also ask if that person's okay.
Yes.
So he wasn't just saying the words. He was initially at first saying the words, but then we moved him each time into having a different experience around, I'm sorry.
Yes. I love that whole story because it illustrates what we learned in our research, which is they have to learn the words first and practice this. And then as you get older, you start learning to take some understanding of what it means to say, I'm sorry.
And to feel sorry.
And to feel sorry for that. Right. But it's like you had to take a step back instead of just like, well, I guess he's never going to say sorry. That's the end of that learning lesson. You had to bring it really back down.
Yeah.
Where he was. And,
which was probably developmentally as a preschooler, he wasn't quite where he needed to be.
Yes, because by kindergarten and early elementary, many children, not all, but many children are ready for the next step. And then that as those children are growing, they begin to understand that apologies are about repair and
Mhm.
restoring trust, not just saying the right words, but really
Right.
understand, taking ownership and responsibility too.
It's a
And
big thing.
we see this so often that children who are capable of more but aren't always being held accountable. And parents, because you are your child's biggest advocates, partnering with teachers around these moments really matters. And it's it's like it's not easy in the moment. And I know, Kristine, you and I have both, as parents, had to work with parents and others to help our children go to their next step. And at the moment, it feels almost feel like you've just really messed up, but you
Yeah.
have. And if you can approach it like, okay, I really want you, because you want the best for your child. So being able to hear, okay, this kind of hurts in the moment, but when you see it, a transformation, little tiny steps moving in the right direction, you're so happy, and your child's really happy too.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it's a win-win, but the work to get there is tough.
Yes.
And I think it's really important as teachers and parents, we can accept it to a degree because we're not the parents, but as parents, you don't have to accept it. You have to help guide your child into their next phase of development if it's not happening organically.
And that's what makes parenting and teaching challenging is you can't expect like, oh, they'll just figure it out.
Yes, exactly.
That's your job. We're all guiding our kids as they're growing too. So
Right. So that's why we're thinking about this at this time of year in January. It's the beginning of a new calendar year. Even though as teachers we start our years in September, this is really it's a time to pause and reflect and not resolutions, reflection, right? What's working, what's not working, where might this child be ready to grow with just a little bit more support? So that's the goal.
it was such a good story. It really illustrates where you met this Charlie, where he was.
Well, and similar to yours, like it took calm, consistency, modeling, repair options, and most importantly, partnering with his amazing parents. And then once we were aligned, Charlie learned that saying sorry was not about shame.
Yeah, it was about connection and having and doing the right things and making friends. So our job isn't just to pull our children forward.
Right? To walk beside them. I love that.
Yeah, me too. All right, so let's go to our third section. Now it's all about us. Personal. Enough of those kids now. Just kidding. I don't know. As we've come into this new year, I struggle with New Year's. New Year's Eve. Have I ever told you I really don't like New Year's resolutions? I
We're on the same page.
don't like them. They overwhelm me and I don't like it. I feel like I'm setting myself up for failure. And yet I do like to learn and I like to reflect and grow. So I don't like the word resolutions.
Right, but you set goals for yourself all the time. So I think New Year's time, it always feels like really shallow. Like I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to drink more water, I'm going to read more, I'm going to go to the gym. And none of it, is realistic. It's all too hard it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So it is stressful.
It is stressful, but it is making me think about what is sustainable. So
yeah, we realize, well, I think we should compare ourselves, big little lessons that like little people, we're in different phases of our life. So although supposedly our frontal cortex is fully developed, but we need different things at different times in our lives.
Yeah. So like we do with our young students, we start by acknowledging where they are, what is working, and what needs a little tune-up. We can do that for ourselves.
Yeah, so let's think about what would some of those examples be. So maybe forgiving someone who hurt you in the past, or letting go of resentment, or going back to someone that you may have been critical of or short with. I remember you told a story a long time ago about that, Jenny, where you went back and apologized. You made a mistake and you went back, and it's never too late to do those kinds of things. If you're holding on to that in the new year, find a way to maybe let it go.
And go back and correct it. It's so healing and cathartic. I like that idea of thinking about reflecting on your character and your values. And we all fall short. So it's good to review that. I think of January too as trying new things that maybe you've wanted to do. Since we've been in right, I want to join the choir. I'm in it. Or maybe volunteer. Yeah. Would you join with me? We could see.
Yeah, maybe.
Also something like volunteering at something. I mean, it's so fun to get involved with a volunteer organization, something that you love to do. And then, of course, spending more time with the people you love.
I like those ideas. Maybe part of the reason we don't like resolutions is because it feels to me like what we're all doing wrong, like overeating, drinking too much. I love the concept of reframing. How can we be better people moving into 2026?
How can we be better people in 2026? That's a great way to reframe that word resolution, because a little bit goes a long way.
It really does. It doesn't have to be massive. If you do one thing to make yourself better, we have a song that we sing, inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. Each person has a different personal goal. Let's take a beat and think about something you might consider.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's start with our big little lesson. So, do you have a big little lesson for this conversation?
What I really thought about most during this conversation was the importance of development and honoring the current stage of where the little people are, but also the big people, because people's characters are only capable of what they're capable of. Like the people you're in relationships with are only capable of what they can do. So it doesn't mean they can't grow. It just means it's important to honor that and understand that. You don't have to keep going to the next, to the next, to the next. You have to go slowly to the next.
I think so often we want things done immediately, but things take time as well.
Yeah. So what's your big little lesson, Jenny?
Well, I definitely think being in support with partnership. I think that naming it is a really big thing. Where's something that you feel like, this needs a little bit of tune-up, asking for help when you need it, and partnering with somebody. Like, that's what I love about working with you, Kristine. I'll have a situation and then I can come to you and we can work on it. I think naming something and having patience and partnering really makes it a win-win for everybody.
I love that. Patience and partnering. I mean, I couldn't function without you by my side all these years. So let's think about, as we head into this new year, think about a child or a student or a person, right?
Well, think about a person and ask yourself, what stage might they be in right now, right?
So like in terms of what structure, what rhythm, or what partnership might support them? What do they need?
And then ask that same question of yourself, and starting small. So I'm thinking about this year coming in, I really would love to join a choir and volunteer someplace. So that's what I'm thinking of. And I'm sure if I think about it, there's somebody I've got to say sorry to again.
It's not me.
Not yet.
Not me at all. Oh, listeners, we love hearing from you, your stories, your questions, and the big little lessons showing up in your lives.
And if you have a thought, a question to ask, or a topic you'd love for us to explore, please email us at teachbiglittlelessons@gmail.com.
Yeah, your ideas help shape this community.
And just a reminder that we might not have all the answers,
but we have a lot of experience. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.